Alright, in today's episode of Oakwood Zoo, we return after a good 2 weeks to finish off the Giant Otter House in Oakwood Zoo. In the last episode, we built the entire building of the interior of this, and in today, we build the outdoor area for them, as well as a lot of planters to kind of build up this section a lot. So let's get right into it. Alright, so hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Oakwood Zoo. Again, like I said in the intro, it has been a couple weeks since the last episode. And the last episode, if you have not forgotten, was the Giant Otter House enclosure, where we built a giant house for the giant otters, as well as some aquarium species, and we basically built an indoor area for like the viewing area for like the otters, as well as the otter indoor area at itself, as well as some aquarium tanks, just to make it kind of give that tropical, nice, like aquarium kind of vibe to it. But that was a bit ago. That was about 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, around there. And I do apologize for that. I was supposed to get this video out last week, but unfortunately I really lost all energy. I came down with something last week around like Thursday, or honestly even earlier than that, like Wednesday or Thursday. And then the worst of it was around like Friday and Saturday. So I didn't have any energy really to do anything, especially to edit. I did have the recording beforehand done, but it was kind of choppy, and then I just really did not feel like editing. I didn't have any motivation or any inner strength. It wasn't anything major, but I just did not have that motivation or energy, and I also had other things to do as well that I was falling behind on, so I took a bit of a break. We did upload a Prehistoric Kingdom video that isn't really doing too great on numbers, but it's fine. I don't really care. I'd more do that for myself to kind of keep up with the news, so I don't care too much about who watches those ones. But we are finally back with the series. Again, we're resuming right where we left off. There's no big changes. I was surprised today. I'm recording this on the Tuesday, and I was honestly expecting a DLC reveal. I don't know. I was expecting it because it's a Tuesday, and it lines up with the other reveals. However, I just feel like I don't know. This morning when I woke up, I just didn't feel like it was time for a DLC announcement. And I think the main thing that was causing that feeling was because we just got the Jurassic World Evolution 3 announcement on the Friday, for Summer Games Fest. Also, my voice might not sound completely normal. It's still kind of recovering, but I'm sure it'll be done by the next couple of videos. Anyway, but yeah, Jurassic World Evolution 3 was announced on the Friday. I still have mixed feelings about it. I know I didn't upload any videos again. My voice was a lot worse than what it is right now. So I didn't have any, I couldn't really record anything with it, so I need to wait for that to get better. It was alright. I have some mixed feelings about Jurassic World Evolution 3. It does look really good, and I will end up probably buying it, because the big thing for me, I know actually I've seen a lot of other people, I've watched a bunch of videos about people covering it. The main thing that's really intriguing me is modular building. I feel like it was almost kind of a given to have this. We've seen every other game have this. We have it in Planet Zoo, we have it in Planet Coaster. It's obviously moved over to Planet Coaster 2. We have it in Prehistoric Kingdom, and it was only a matter of time until Jurassic World Evolution got it as well. The thing about this, I want to try not to focus on it too much in this video, because again, this is a Planet Zoo video. But the thing with Jurassic World Evolution 3 that is really begging me, or really kind of conflicting me, is that it really doesn't bring anything that I couldn't see them adding in Jurassic World Evolution 2. You have babies. Again, the graphics themselves, I've seen a lot of people say the graphics are so much better than Jurassic World Evolution 2. And to me personally, I don't really see that. I saw in the trailer a lot of the animals that we've seen with the dinosaurs from the last game, and we've seen them in the new game. To me, they don't really look that different, and I know I'm not a professional designer or anything like that, and they probably are really better. The graphics are probably upgraded from the last game, but I don't understand really why they needed to make a whole new game for this, and they couldn't just, I don't know, spread these features throughout more DLCs or updates going forward. I get that it's big features like babies and modular building. That would take some changes, but I don't know. I would prefer not to pay another $60 or $70 or whatever for a third game when we don't even know this is the last game. They could come up with Jurassic World Evolution 4. I don't know what the bargaining thing with that would be. I don't know if the Cenozoics who put mammoths and stuff, I could honestly see them doing that. I was honestly kind of wondering if they would do that for Jurassic World Evolution 3. The big sellers for this game are babies and modular building. That's the two big features that they talked about, because I remember in an interview or whatever, one of the Frontier meetings that they published or whatever, that you could look up online, they said that they were bringing two big features to Jurassic World Evolution 3, the next game. And those we now know are babies, which I'm indifferent to. I get that it's bringing like a new complex breeding system and stuff, but it's honestly kind of hard for me to get excited for when we have games like Planet Zoo that already had it at launch. And then with Prehistoric Kingdom, it didn't have it at launch, but it's still in early access and it's still already getting them. So it's kind of hard to get excited for this when it's basically 2 games late or 3 games late when it should have been in the first game. So it's like, yeah, they're adorable and everything, but should this not have been already included from the get-go? Like, it should have been in Jurassic Evolution 1. So I get that it's extra work and stuff, but you can't really blame it when Planet Zoo has done the same thing or Prehistoric Kingdom's done the same thing. I know they're different teams, but then again, Prehistoric Kingdom's team is a lot smaller than a big company like Frontier. So it's kind of questioning to me why we're getting these kind of features late in the game. I understand modular building, that is something that kind of like took testing out of. Like, you have to like, they started out with the base of like very early buildings and stuff, and then Jurassic Evolution 2 we moved on to doing a bit more like the decorations and stuff, and then now we're going fully modular. I get that, because you have to get that like in feedback. If people really like what they did in Jurassic Evolution 2, then they would continue into doing fully modular in Jurassic Evolution 3, which they've done now. If they didn't like it in Jurassic Evolution 2, they could have maybe like stuck with that or gone back to a new kind of like building methods. I don't know, but I can understand why they didn't do that right off the bat. But babies, well, whatever. Anyway, we should probably talk about the actual habitat in this episode. So, and I will talk about Jurassic Evolution 3 more, and probably a separate video when my voice is feeling a bit better, like completely 100%. But in this video, we were playing the outdoor area for the otters. This is honestly a decently more simple enclosure compared to what we've done so far. We do finally finish the otter house, and at the time of recording this, I'm actually gonna like do the cinematic shots and recording them after, so I don't even know. I'm probably going to have to fiddle around with the foliage and stuff for the otters to get them really to touristable area, because they are an older species, but the enclosure in itself looks really good in my opinion. Lots of foliage. The foliage is definitely my favorite part of this enclosure. I especially liked how I did like the wall in the back, but I tried to do a toned wall in the back of the enclosure so you just had that front view. Originally I was going to do a kind of like a 360 kind of enclosure where you go all the way around in like a giant loop and you see the otters from all angles, and I felt like that was kind of like a bit too much. The enclosure ended up being maybe a bit too small, but then again, compared with the indoor area, I feel like it's probably just fine, especially considering what you would see in a real life zoo. But yeah, that wall and the accent wall is probably my favorite part of this enclosure. It looks really nice and it really blends in well to the building. When you take that outer shot of like, and you take like a full shot of the building and like the structure, it looks really nice and it looks really put together. The main thing I didn't want to do here, and I was experimenting with fences earlier on, is that I didn't want it to look completely just like detached from the building. I wanted to bring something over to connect it and make it feel like it's actually part of it. So yeah, honestly, it looks really nice. The foliage and rocks is pretty similar to what we've done before on other enclosures, like hippos and tapirs and flamingos that we've done very recently. That is pretty much it for that part of like the actual enclosure. And the fences are decently unique in this enclosure. I try to use a lot of the tropical pack pieces, like the stone pieces, as well as I use the ceiling fan cables as like the bars, I'm pretty sure, because of course like those are like the classic go-tos for me. And then we also had the glass windows here and there. I think I had like 2 main ones, so that for the little ones, if they can't see over the fence, or if their parents were tired of lifting them over the fence, then they could see down below. You can see the otters. I had to do some fiddling around with the wall and the moat, because it wasn't really a moat, because obviously it's otters, so they have to be able to swim, but I had to manage it so that way they couldn't climb up. And I think this is in the cinematic shots, or sorry, this is in the speed build that got removed later on, is that I did in the fence kind of like a ramp on the inside so that the otters could like run up. They're not supposed to be able to do that, because then from there, if they can stand up there, they can jump over. So I had to remove that part so that it's just a solid wall against the water, but that's as much realistic as I could. Again, I had to fix that after I've already finished the enclosure. I tried to keep as much of the original design as possible, and I think it still worked out pretty nicely. So that looks pretty good. And again, like I mentioned before, I also I built a lot of new planters around the enclosure. I think we built like total of like 3 different shapes. We did like a rectangular one, we did a circle one, and then we had a weird kind of shaped one to go along with the grooves in the enclosure. So that looks pretty nice. I wanted to give it like kind of like this foresty kind of vibe where you have a lot of foliage built up in this little part, so you don't have like, it's not super open to the public. And then the backstage of that area, I've been thinking about either doing just like a forest, just like continuing on with the lush forest vibe in the background, or what I was gonna maybe do is do like kind of like an animal hospital, because that would be really cool if you get like a building for an animal hospital. My local zoo has that, and then it's really cool to watch. You get to go in, and they have like a huge viewing window. It's not long, it's basically like a hallway, but you can look into all the vet rooms, and you can see like if they're doing surgeries on animals. So that'd be pretty cool if we can maybe do that. We could like combine some of the vet buildings, the vet staff buildings, but also like make my own. I can make my own kind of vet clinics or surgery rooms. That probably won't be for any near episodes. I'm gonna try and focus on the actual animals as we're going forward with this, because we only have a few left. We have one more for Predator Passage. We have to do the capybaras and the caimans for the American Pavilion, and then we have to do the Sloth House, and that's really it for what's left. And we have maybe one more enclosure for like the RIA. So not a huge amount left. We are slowly getting down there. Again, the otter was not one I had planned, and it was kind of just like a spur of the moment thing, but I still do really enjoy its addition here, and I think it really completes the area quite nicely. In other news, while we're letting this go, we also, again, like I said, the DLC for Planet Zoo, I've seen, again, I made a video about this already, about a couple weeks ago, but I really don't, first of all, I don't know when we're supposed to be expecting an announcement trailer. I was expecting today, Tuesday, June 10th, but it was not here. And again, I kind of got that feeling that maybe it wasn't, so, because the announcement or the teaser was really early, so I'm assuming maybe it will be a bit late, maybe like next week or the week after, or maybe it's just a day late. Maybe we're gonna get an announcement on like Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Who knows? But of course, as soon as the DLC is announced, then I will work my hardest to get a video up on that once I have the time to record it. Again, I probably will not get early access to this one, because I don't even know who to contact anymore. I don't know who to contact with any of this stuff, and it's kind of sad, because it's honestly probably will be the last DLC, maybe. It really go 50-50 for me. I don't know, in my personal opinion, and I'll probably look into that more, and I'll probably talk about that more in a separate video, but it's kind of disappointing. I don't know. When I went into this like YouTube and like started playing Zoo and stuff, I was like my first question was like, what if one day we get early access to a pack, and I get to make like early access videos like these people do, like these famous creators do, like the people that I watched at the beginning, like, you know, like Rudy Run Camel or Delay Designer. So that would be really cool, and I feel like that we're now at that point of eligibility where we have that amount of a following that we like have enough to get something like that, or like be at that level where I could like have the chance to show you guys stuff, especially considering how we are probably the most speculative channel on Planet Zoo like community, because of all the different videos we've done, like the speculation series, we've done speculation videos, all that stuff. So I don't know, I feel like I'm the one who's getting a lot of people hyped up for like the DLC, and yet we're not one of the ones that really get to enjoy it early on. It would be a nice touch to know like Frontier actually like sees the hard work behind like all the videos, the speculation videos. And in any case, we will still obviously cover the DLC. And again, it's not really a huge deal to me, like actually reviewing it, like if I don't have the early access. I usually don't do it if I don't, because again, there's not really a point, because people already had their reviews out on the day of, like, the day before the DLC releases, so there's no point of doing it. So I would rather just build something, or start building enclosures for the animals that people won't have. You will see a lot of, like, basically all the reviews for the DLC are going to be the same, because they're the same content, but no enclosures are going to be the same two kind of enclosures. So I would rather focus more on my own enclosures and stuff, other than just reviewing the pack if I didn't have early access. I wouldn't try to like keep up with everyone else when their videos would already be out before mine anyway. But anyway, that's my little rant to Frontier. That is pretty much it for what I have to say about that. We talked about Jurassic Revolution 3. Again, we'll talk about that in a separate video. All good and fun and games there. We talked about the future, speculation, a future of the series, and that's honestly pretty much it for what I have to say about things we have to discuss. Yeah, keep your eyes out for the next DLC for Planet Zoo, and that's pretty much going to be my part of the video. Enjoy the rest of the speed build. Sorry I didn't do too much talking about the actual build. Again, this is one of the more basic enclosures compared to like some of the other ones we've done, but I still felt like it was worth making a video out of it. And I do want to do like a supercut combining the footage from this episode and the last episode into like an hour-long episode of just like maybe a bit slower speed build with just music in the background, just like a nice kind of thing. And I don't know, I might do it for the pavilion as well. I like doing it for like big buildings. I really like doing that because you get to see, again, the buildings in the zoo are like split up into different like episodes, but if you get to see like all those episodes into one and you get to see how the building comes together, that would be pretty nice. So I do like the idea of that, and I will probably do that when we finish the Americas Pavilion, and I will do that when we finish the Giant Otter House, which is after this episode. So anyway, that is pretty much it. As far as future episodes or future videos, we'll continue. We're going to do a supercut of this. I'm going to do another ranking video, which a lot of people enjoyed the last one of the birds, so I'm hoping that they will enjoy this next upcoming one. It is another popular group, so keep your eyes out for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for all I have to say. Hit the subscribe button if you did enjoy this video, and if you want to see more, please hit the like button again if you enjoyed the enclosure, and leave a comment down below what you enjoyed about the enclosure and what you hope to see going forward, what animals you want me to build for next. So, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Enjoy the rest of the video, cinematic shots at the end as always. Bye guys, have a great rest of your day.